Welcome back, Naughty Knitters! You have found episode 31 of the French Knot, my little corner of the internet where we love to talk about all the nitty, yarny, fibery topics. I'm Tawnya, also known as A Naughty Knitter 2 on both Instagram and Ravelry. I would love if you give me a follow. I have two French bulldogs joining me today in the studio. And hopefully they won't make too much ruckus, but we have Frankie and Gucci, and hopefully we'll have a cameo appearance sometime in the show from them. But if you hear some snoring, that's them. All right, guys, today's podcast is packed. We have finished objects, new whips, old whips. We have some spinning. We have some future plans. We're going to talk about the spring solstice cal. A bunch of stuff is coming your way. So if that sounds like just your cup of tea, pour a cozy beverage, grab your knitting, cuddle up with your favorite fur friend, and let's dive in. All right, guys, we're going to start out with finished objects because, oh my God, I have so many things that came off the needles this week. We're going to start with what I'm wearing, which is the Jovis duster. She is finally done. Yay! You guys, I am so excited to have this off the needles. Was it worth it? Yeah, it was worth it. But man, it was kind of a slog for a while there. This is a Jovis duster. It was a test knit for Devin at Knitty McPurly. It is knit up in Dubrovnik DK. Their DK Merino. It's in a superwash in the colorway Jovis. The whole body has this texture in it. I hope you can see that. What's nice about that texture is that it takes away the purling. You are doing some purling, but it's not straight purling all the way back every time. So that really breaks up the monotony. Way less purling than a traditional cardigan would be. I'm not going to give away how she does that, but it's very unique and it takes away a lot of the purling and a lot of the headache with cardigan construction, which thank God, because it is a long one. I'm going to put up some pictures here to show, because I don't think I can get the whole thing in the frame. It just keeps going and going. It's almost down to my, well, it is down to my ankles. It's all the way down to my ankles. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now, this is not meant to close completely. It's meant to be partially open and just hug at the shoulders, which it does. It fits perfectly. I knit it up in the size 2, which gives you a 32.5 inch bust, intended to fit a 34 to 36 inch chest, which is perfect for me. The texture part is worked in a US 5, and the stockinette on the sleeves was knit up in a US 3. You start out with the right front, and when you're doing it, you're doing this I-cord as you go. So if you can see, there's an I-cord edge right before the ribbing, right there, there's a little I-cord that you're doing as you go, as the same time that you're doing some shaping on the other side for the armhole. You repeat the process on the other side. You put those on hold. And then you do the same for the back. Except for the back, there's no I-cord. There's just armhole shaping for the two shoulders. And then what you do is you join those two with an I-cord. You join those two with an I-cord and then pick up stitches off that I-cord and then continue knitting down the back. Prior to joining in the round, you do a mattress stitch to join the shoulders. So you can see here my shoulder join right there and right there. And then you get it in the round basically, and you're just knitting back and forth forever. Forever and ever. And then when you get to the waist, you have to make a decision. And the decision has to do with how much increase you need to do. So what she has you do is you measure your chest and your hips. And for every inch difference, you add 1 increase. And so you can see I've added 3 right there. You can see those 3 increases. And she purposely left them, leaving a little bit of a gape here as a design detail. But she also includes instructions if you don't want that design detail. But that's a really neat construction. So it really just lays very nicely on you. Instead of really hugging at the hips, it just kind of falls very nice. And then you put some stitches on hold right here for the pockets. And then you pick up stitches, or rather cast on more stitches, and continue knitting. And then at the end, you come back and put the pocket in. Let's see. And then you knit all the way down while you're putting on I-cord edge here. knit all the way down to the bottom, and then you bind off with an I-cord right here. And I thought you were done. Like, I was thinking as I was reading the pattern, we get this, the I-cord must be the finish, right? Because usually that is. And then I got done with everything except for the pockets, and there's still a whole page of instructions. I'm like, what is going on here? I was not done. No way was I done. So the next step was you had to pick up stitches off of that I-cord and do 3 inches of ribbing, which is beautiful. I'm really glad that we did that. It's a beautiful finish to it. And then I finished that off with an Italian bind off, and it turned out beautifully. When I was done with that, I was like, okay, it must be done now, right? Nope. We had to pick up stitches for the whole thing to do ribbing on the edge. So thank God it's just 1 by 1 ribbing. I didn't have to do a double knitted button band, but it is about 1 inch of ribbing that you pick up for at the end. So you pick up stitches again on that I-cord that you were doing the whole time, and then you do a ribbing. And I decided to do an Italian bind off for that. Oh my God, that was the longest bind off ever, you guys. I'm going to show you pictures of how big this is, but you start obviously at one end, all the way up, all the way down. I mean, it took forever, but I really love the look of an Italian bind off, so I feel like it was worth it. But I just want to tell you, that was a challenge. That tested my patience for sure. Because when you're pulling that yarn through, I mean, it is forever. You're just pulling it and pulling it and pulling it. Anyway, that's going to teach me to read instructions a little bit better in the future, maybe. Now, when you get all done with that, you block it. And then after it's blocked, then you sew in or sew down these pockets. Now, I was very, very, very careful in sewing down these pockets because I wanted the pattern to match. So I wanted the ridge here to look just like the ridge over here. And I accomplished it, but it took, and I wanted to make sure it was on the exact same row that I was binding off the bottom, and then the exact, anyway, I wanted it to match perfectly. So I took my time, and it took some time, but I achieved it, and I'm very happy to have it done and to have it turn out. Couldn't have turned out any better than it did. I am absolutely thrilled with the end result. Couldn't recommend this pattern more. I do have a Ravelry page up with the details on it. She's releasing the pattern, I think, next week. And then what you'll do is you'll go to Ravelry and it'll direct you to her own page where you can buy the pattern. So that'll be out, I think it's next week. I will post it in Instagram when it becomes live. So follow me on Instagram and you won't miss out. But guys, it is worth it. It is worth it. Just understand what you're getting into, okay? And don't leave it for the last minute like I did. So anyway, I got that bound off. I got it blocked, and I'm thrilled. I'm going to wear it to pieces. I've worn it once. I didn't want to tempt fate too much, so I've only worn it once since blocking it off, but I absolutely love this. The only thing that I might do differently, if I were to do it again, comes down to choosing the yarn. Because it's a very big piece, it's going to get heavy because DK Merino Superwash can just get kind of heavy and stretchy. So I might have chosen a lighter yarn. That's the one thing I could see doing differently, is more of a farmy yarn for this, maybe even a cotton wool blend, something like that would just give it a little bit of lightness. That's the one thing that I might do differently. Am I going to re-knit it just to change fabric? No. But if I were to, that would be the one thing I would finish. And the other thing is, we had to talk about the buttons. And I haven't, a couple episodes ago, I really was excited to use the buttons from buttonmad.org. However, the ones that I was so anxious to use were kind of blended into the sweater, a few of you mentioned. And so I'm going to save those, and I'm going to use them on another project. I ordered some more because there's a lot of buttons on this project. I think there's 8 buttons, and I think I only have 5 or 6, and so I ordered another set. So they're coming. But what I decided to do is go with a leather button for this, and I think that's cute. I did order some others from Button Mad, so if I like those better, we can switch them out, of course, but for now, these are working splendidly. Anyway, that is the Jovis Duster by Devon Ventry with Knitty McPurly. All right, now what else did I finish up this week? Well, I finished up my Comfort Core socks by Summer Lee, guys. Woohoo! I know, I am doing so well in these socks. I am so in love with the Comfort Core collection from Summer Lee. So I'm going to end up knitting all of these before the end of the year because they're such a practical, doable, beautiful sock. I used the March Farmer Daughter Fiber Sock Squad colorway Rooted Earth in the base Rocky Mountain Pearls, which is 75% BFL, 25% nylon. And I used the tubular cast on, so it gives you a really nice, stretchy cast on. I don't know if you can appreciate that, but it is super stretchy. And so I did that, and then I did 1 by 1 rib for about 2 inches. And then we went ahead, and I had them on 2 at a time. I was doing them on Magic Loop. And so I had both of them going so that I made sure that I got the stripes exactly the same. And then I knit down to about the heel turn. And then I separated them because it was Easter. And I wanted to be able to take one sock with me to Easter and not have all the rigmarole of 2 socks on 1 needle and pulling the needle. Yeah, all the things, because it was going to be a dinner. And I just wanted to be able to knit and be very inconspicuous. So took it off the needle, turned the heel quick before we left, and then was able to just do knitting around. What I forgot was that on the top half, it was supposed to be seed stitch, and the bottom half was supposed to be stockinette. Totally missed that. And so after I did the fish lip kiss heel, isn't that a nice heel turn? Look at that, guys. Look how nice that is. After I did that, I ended up just doing stockinette in the round until it came time to do the Comfort Core band. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. I think it's okay. It actually lends itself to a little dressier sock. I think that's okay. And I love them. They're very cute. I think they're going to be very well worn by the end of the year. Look at those. I think it's probably one of my favorite socks. Just because they're so practical. And then this BFL is so nice, you guys. If you ever get a chance to get your hands on the Farmer Daughter Fibers Rocky Mountain Pearl base, it is fan-frickin-tastic. It is so nice. It's a little bit more structural than merino. It has a little bit more structure to it, and I love that for a sock. So, highly recommend this base. That is the Comfort Core sock by Summer Lee in the Farmer Daughter Fibers Sock Squad Rocky Mountain Pearls base in the colorway Rooted Earth. It's in the size that corresponds to the 64 stitches. And there you have it. All done. Project number 2. Yes, I've been very productive. Very productive. All right, so finished object number 3 is going to require a wardrobe change. I know. You guys are in for a treat. So I'm just going to take this off and just slip on. So cover your eyes. I know. Can you believe it? Oh my God. I finished it. Guys, I am so stinking proud of this. You just would not believe it. So, this is the Traveler by Andrea Mowry. This was knit up in the size 3, which is 46 inches in circumference, which gives me about 10 inches of positive ease. And, oh God, I just think the fit, oh my God, it's going to, this might be my all-time ever favorite knit. I just gotta say, I am so excited about this. Okay, I'm gonna settle down now. Okay, so the yarn that she recommended was Farmer Daughter Fibers Sport Recollect, and it's a Rambouillet. What I did was I spun 24 ounces of Polwarth in the colorway Impatience, also known as My Obsession, from River Rat Yarns. And I was a very new spinner when I took this on. I'm still a new spinner, but I was super new when I took this on. And so my yarn was a little bit inconsistent, and I wasn't quite sure how much I was going to get out of each ounce. And so I thought 24 ounces was going to be enough. And then I ran it through my meter counter, and I think I was operating it incorrectly after I looked at the instructions, but that's for another day. Oh gosh, I don't know. I need somebody watching me at all times, right? At any rate, I was short. And so it said that I needed 1,701 for a size 1, and I had 1,626 is what I thought. I really wanted a size 3. That was going to take almost 2,000 yards, so I was so short. So I called Stacy with River Red Yarns and I said, is there any chance that you could send me another braid, Polwarth, in a colorway Impatience, also known as My Obsession? And she's like, well, it won't be the same dye lot, obviously, because, you know, these are all hand dyed, but I'll do the best I can. So she sent it, and it was beautiful, and I went ahead and spun it up, and my spinning got much more consistent and much finer as my spinning went on, as we'll talk about in a second. So my thought was, well, let's just save that for the hood, perhaps, because the hood, it's like a different part of the sweater, and so it won't be that big of a deal if you have a different color there. A little bit different tonality, a little bit different break in the colors and stuff, it won't be as big of a deal. So, started knitting. So how this works is you cast on from the bottom up. So you cast on at the ribbing, and you cast on 2x2 tubular cast on. And that requires a switcheroo of you have to switch the stitches around to get that 2x2. So you cast on as a 1x1 tubular, and then you rearrange the stitches to make it 2x2. And then you knit a couple inches, and that was all fine. And then I got into the ridges, which also is fine, but I got to the point where she said that you should split for sleeves. And I'm like, that seems really short. And I'm like, oh my God, but I'm already short yardage. But I'm like, but I have a whole nother braid. I'd rather have to troubleshoot later than to have it too short. Because if it's too short, I'm just not going to wear it. So I put on a couple extra. I think I did an extra whole set of repeats here. So that would have been probably a couple inches extra in this part right here, which I'm really glad that I did. Then you add some stitches here for the drop shoulder, right? Because that's how you get the drop shoulder. You cast on more stitches here, cast on more stitches here, and then you're knitting the front panel alone. And then once you get the length that you desire, you start doing shaping for the shoulders. And so again, I was like, oh gosh, do I follow her pattern or do I add a little bit? And so to add, you had to add, I think it had to add in 10 row repeats. So I'm like, oh. So I went ahead and added one set of repeats to the front and the back. And then we joined them with a 3 needle bind off. And you picked up stitches at the sleeve and started knitting the arms. So I knit the first arm, and that one ended in blue. How cool is that? And then I started knitting the second arm, and I noticed, oh my God, the yarn is so much finer. This skein was so much finer. And so I'm like, what do I do? I had about probably down to here done. And I'm like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. I can't handle it. So I tore it out, went back to a thicker, reknit it with another skein that was a little bit thicker. And then that one ended with pink. So I have a blue sleeve and a pink sleeve. And then we ended with the 2x2 ribbing. And then she instructs you to rearrange the stitches before you do the tubular bind off. But I have found a YouTube tutorial, which I will link below, that shows you how to sew off a 2x2 ribbing without rearranging the stitches. And that's what I did. I think it turned out very nice. To me, it looks even better than rearranging. To me, it looks better than rearranging the stitches. I think it gives it a cleaner look. But that's up to you to decide. And when you're all done with that, then you pick up stitches for the hood. So I picked up stitches for the hood, and I'm still using my original yarn. I haven't broken into the newly spun yarn yet. And basically the hood, after you pick up stitches, is just doing a huge heel turn. It's basically what you're doing. You knit back and forth a few times to establish the pattern. And then you're doing short rows to shape it, and then you're resolving those short rows to bring it back out again and form the hood. Is that adorable? I know, don't you love it? Oh my God. So then once you get the hood done and all resolved, then you just start knitting the casing. I believe you go down a needle size to do the casing. And so I got about halfway through the casing, And that's when I had to start using the yarn that Stacy made. So I almost was able to finish this project. So close. And just full disclosure, I already had the drawstring knit and everything with the original yarn. So I feel like if I had not knit the drawstring, I probably could have finished the casing and then used something else for the drawstring. But as it turns out, I'm going to have enough yarn left over to probably do a pair of fingerless mitts. What do you guys think? I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I don't have it in here, but basically it's this, right? But yeah, I did it. I finished my traveler hoodie. What do you think? Is she not just perfect? I'll put in some pictures in some B-roll of the back and the hood. It's just so cute, you guys. I think it's going to be the ultimate summer wearable, especially in the evenings when it's kind of cold and you've been out all day and then you get the chill at night. I think it's going to be perfect for that. So I'm super excited for this one. So that's all I have for finished objects. Now we're going to move on to whips. Because you can't cast off 3 big projects in a week without casting on a bunch of stuff too, right? Oh God, you guys, it's so embarrassing. I just can't be trusted. Let's start with what we know. You guys will remember this one. So I'm working on the Stromboli by Caitlin Hunter. Remember, the Stromboli was part of her Knitty series where she made patterns that were inspired by and named for places in Italy that she dreams of visiting one day. And Stromboli is an island near Sicily, and it's the home of an active volcano, so I think that's kind of cool. It uses a light fingering weight yarn, and they recommend M-Yak, which is a baby yak organic cotton blend. I am using River Rat Yarns Yakety Yak, which is a 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, 10% nylon blend. And I'm using the colorway Sour Apple Jolly Rancher. Isn't that a pretty color? So that's the colorway I'm using. Now, in this pattern, you cast on 242 stitches, and I decided I wanted to do the tubular cast on. So I did, and I'm cruising along. So I did the initial row. I did set up row number 1. I did set up row number 2. Everything's going splendidly. Everything's right. The count is on. Everything's on. I'm super ecstatic. And I'm about halfway through the first round of true ribbing. And on a US 2, okay? And off pops my needle from my cord. Yeah. Guys, tighten your needles to your cords all the time. So anyway, I couldn't salvage it. The stitches dropped. It was just a mess. So I had to start all over. But I think it's looking really good. I'll show you the cast on. So there's the cast on. Turned out nicely, right? Now I'm working on the body of it. So the body is an 8-row repeat of lace knitting. And it's kind of hard to, there you go. And in the pattern, she recommends doing 8 repeats before you split for sleeves. So I've done 8. I'm working on the 9th right now. And when I look at her pictures, to me, it looks like she's done 10. Even though she calls for 8, it looks like she did 10. And I've done another pattern by Caitlin Hunter, which was a little short, and I had to add a lot of length. So I'm like, okay, she has a shorter waist than I do. So I think I'm going to have to do at least 10, maybe 12 repeats. But I'm on number 9. So I am making some serious headway on this. And then I believe the next thing we do is split for front and back. And then we'll start shaping the neckline, working in pattern with the lace, and then you'll do the same on the back, and then you pick up for the sleeves. But I'm just not sure about the length of it. The other thing I have to keep in mind, and maybe I'll just do a block soon, because I feel like this is going to grow, this lace pattern. I just don't know how much, and so maybe I just do a mid-project block here soon and kind of make sure. I think that might be the ticket. Has anybody done this? Can anybody give me some insight? There's one gal on Instagram messaged me and said that she did 10. And so I'm thinking 10 is probably the right number for me. But I guess it's anybody's guess. I mean, worst case scenario, I don't want to do that. I should probably do a mid-project block. I hate doing those. I hate doing those. Anyway, but that's kind of my plan right now. So, but isn't that beautiful, you guys? Isn't she nice? I think that, so this is actually a sample knit for Stacy at River Rat Yarn. And then once she's done with it, then she'll give it back to me. But look how much progress I've got. So since I talked to you last, that's where I was last time. I wanted to keep the progress marked so that I could convince myself that I was making progress. So I'm going to move that now so that we can check in next time and see how much progress I made. I'm trying to be better about keeping track of these things for you guys. So So that's the Stromboli by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knits. Isn't that adorable? All right. So my next whip is kind of fun. So I am easily knit-fluenced, you guys. You know this about me. So I went to Paradise Fibers and did their knit night. And Sarah was knitting. She was knitting in it. What was she knitting? What is that thing called? Oh my God. What is it called? I'm having such a blank right now. The scarf by Petite Knit. What's it called? Help me out, guys. Oh my God, it's always in the top 10. Sophie scarf. Sophie scarf. Oh my God. What is wrong with me? She was knitting the Sophie scarf. And I've already done a Sophie shawl that I love, but I was like, I kind of would like to do something different, something that not everybody has. And so she was using their La Biana May. It was a merino single, and I don't know what her colorway was, but I chose this, what's it called? Floral Morganite. Look at this. Is that not the prettiest corally pink you've ever seen? I don't know if it's quite showing up as beautiful as it is in real life. Anyway, hers is similar to this, but has some speckles in it. I chose to go with the solid and knit up the Alex by Pernille Larsen. And so with the Alex, it's just a little bit different. There's some texture on it. And so you're doing increases. There we go. It starts with this little tab, and then you're doing this 2x2 ribbing with an I-cord edge and increasing every so many rows. Not going to give away the pattern, but I'm done with the increases, and so I'm just working through how long I want it. And I'm going to make it, it's going to be a little scarf. I'm going to have just a little one that ties around your neck. I don't have any of those. I think it'd be really cute with a little white button up or a little white t-shirt. I have nothing like that. So yeah, so I just have to decide how long to knit it. And this is a perfect project for travel or when I'm at work. This is a great one just to have at the side of my desk that I can kind of just squeeze in a couple rows in between patients, especially now when I'm not doing any increases or decreases. I can just easily add a couple rows. And the pattern is pretty mindless at this point. You can see, yeah. But yeah, and this is knit up on a tiny little US 2.5. And this is fingering weight yarn, but it's going relatively quickly. So I would anticipate this being done next time. We'll see. We'll see. I get crazy sometimes and go off on tangents, but there's a chance. So yeah, all I have to do is work straight and then do my decreases, and then we'll have a scarf. So look forward to that. That is the Alex scarf by Pernille Larsen. Now, in that series, she has 3 different sizes of the scarf, and then she has a hood. So it's very similar to Petite Knit's Sophie scarf, where she has the different sizes and then the hood and the shawl, all the things. Pernille Larsen kind of has the same thing with this. And so I just want to try something different, but still be part of the gang. And that's what I decided to do. Next up, you guys, I'm already working on my April sock for the Farmer Daughter Fiber Sock Club. I'm so proud of myself. And so this one has a little bit of a deadline. My son's birthday is April 30th. I'm really hoping I can get this done. And he is a big Green Bay Packer fan, which is killing me because the rest of us are Vikings fans. And so, of course, he had to pick the biggest rivalry in the NFL to be his team. But nevertheless, he was the young man who was helping me with my craft room reset. And I thought, gosh, he's been asking for a pair of socks. This would be a perfect opportunity because the colorway for the Farmer Daughter Fibers Sock Club for April is this Morning Honey, which is this yellow base with a little bit of tint of green in it. And I'm like, how perfect would that be for somebody who loves the Green Bay Packers? The blend is Highwood sock, which is 80%, 20% nylon. So it's a nice, soft sock. He will love it. I'm doing the comfort core. I'm going to do it correctly this time, though, I promise. So this one, I'm doing the version that's a 2x2 rib. I've got the 2x2 rib. I'm at the point now, I'm just getting ready to turn the fish lip kiss heel. But the green stripe that I added was just some spare yarn I had left over from something. I'm not even sure what it's from. So I'm just going to do, I believe, the stripes and the toes in this color. I should have enough to do that. Fingers crossed. So what I did is I cast on with a long tail cast on, 2x2 rib for however many rows, added a couple rows of the stripes, and then every 10 rows from there, I went ahead and added a stitch marker so that I would be able to keep it equal on the other side. I am just turning the heel right now. I'm going to remember to do the seed stitch on the top of this one to make it a true mimic of an athletic sock. So I think that'll be fun. So hopefully I can get these done by his birthday. I do not have a lot of time, but I'm going out of town this weekend. I'm going to take this as one of my travel projects. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get this done. I've got a little over a week to get this one done and another one. So I have faith. Do you guys have faith? Oh, I didn't mention, I'm knitting him. So he's a size 10.5 shoe. And I did cast on 72 stitches for this. I didn't mention that. And I'm going to, I have a sock ruler. I'll show you. So I have this sock ruler that I'm going to use to figure out his sock size. So if you look on the back, you can see here it has like men and women and then the size. So you just stick that in and that's how you measure when you've reached the point where you need to do the toe. So that I'll keep with me and be able to determine how far to go. So that is the third comfort core variation that I'll have done by Summer Lee Designs. Yeah, what do you think? Too bad it wasn't purple and yellow. It'd be so much better. Anyway, he'll love it. That's what matters. It's his birthday. All right, so next up. So you may remember my granddaughters and I, last time I went to visit them, we did a spinning project. So I taught them how to spin and helped them spin up some braids. And they chose some very fun colors. I'll pop them up here. And got them spun up, and then I plied them as a 3-ply. And I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but it turned out lovely. The fiber that we used was from Two Springs Fiber Arts in Falkland. The purple was Purple Pop, so that was a purple-pink blend. And then the green-yellow blend was Joyful Greetings, and then the peachy pink was just Peachy. I decided to turn those into a 3-ply, see how it worked out. And then we ended up with this beautiful, isn't that pretty? And I'm guessing, if I measured right, which I'm not sure that that thing is measuring right, but it's saying around 440 yards. If that's the case, we have just enough to hopefully make these. I'm a little concerned about sizing. I'd like to be able to use this hand spun yarn in a project for each of the girls. And then hopefully one for myself as well, so that we can all have matching items. What I decided on was a Creativity Cowl by Tori Yu. So she has an any gauge, any weight pattern for that. So she has a fingering version, a sport version, a DK version, and a worsted version. Now, this 3-ply probably turned out DK to worsted. And I picked out these 3 yarns so far for the girls, these 3 yarns for their main colors. This is for one of the girls, and then one of the girls, she loves indigo, so she gets the purple one. And then there's this speckle one for the third girl. But as I get knitting it, I am not sure if I'm going to have enough, if it's using the appropriate amount of yarn. I might be using too much of the Handspun. I don't know. I mean, time will tell, right? We'll know more after I get through with this first cowl. But anyway, here's where we're at. Let me show you. So it's a bandana style cowl, and it has sizes. There's youth, adult small, and adult large. And I am trying for somewhere between the youth and the adult small. So this is the neck part. There you go. It's going to kind of go like that. The adult small uses 110 yards. And so I'm hoping, since I'm going between the two, the child youth and the adult small, I'm going between the two. I'm hoping I have enough, because the youth uses 90 yards. The adult small uses 110, and I think I have 440 yards. So theoretically, I should have enough, but I am just so worried. I don't know why. I'm very nervous. But basically, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I think 3 more repeats before we start decreasing. Now this part needs to be big enough to wrap around their heads, and I don't think we're there yet. I don't think 3 more will be enough. That's what concerns me. So I think we're going to have to do more like 5 or 6 more. Oh, God, I don't know. And so maybe there's only going to be enough for the girls and not one for Mimi. We'll see. But at any rate, I'm loving how it's turning out. I hope you can appreciate the colors coming through on that. Isn't that cute? It's a little bit subtle on camera, I think. But yeah, but I really, really love it. Yeah. So, and don't ask me what these yarns are. These two, I have no idea. These were singles that I found when I was doing my stash video. They didn't have labels, and I'm just guessing that they're DK. They're pretty sure DK. I think they're merino. They feel like merino. I don't know. But I do know that this is Miss Babs, leftover from my Stitches sweater. So this is Miss Babs Yowza in the colorway Sparkling Sands, which is a big, it was a big extra large size skein. I think that's why they call it their Yowza. So it's 100% superwash merino, 560 yards in 8 ounces. So I think that's why they call it Yowza, because it's just this big skein of yarn. But the colorway is Sparkling Sand. So there's some different colors in that you can see. And I think that would lend itself, I think that'd be really pretty, those sparkles in with this colorway. See if I can make it show up. And then if there happens to be enough left over for me to make one for myself, what I've decided to do is dip into my own Handspun and use this, which also has some sparkles in it. So I think that would be a load of fun. I don't know, what do you guys think? That. I think that'd be really pretty. So that's my plan for the Handspun with the girls. What do you guys think? Isn't that exciting to finally get that going? I've been talking about that forever, it feels like. Next up, a little bit about my spinning. So I've been working really hard to try to get my spinning more consistent and thinner. And I really want to be able to do a fingering weight yarn, a true fingering weight yarn. When I was at Paradise Fibers last time, I found this Pearly Polwarth, which is a viscose Polwarth blend, and it's so shiny. It's not going to do its justice here. But look at the consistency of that spin, you guys. I think I'm really starting to get it. I don't know if you can appreciate that because it's all white and pearly. But I'm so proud of that. So I have this one done, and this is 4 ounces. Then I have probably about 3 ounces done on another bobbin. So I'm going to take those 2 4-ounce bobbins when that other one's done, apply them together. Fingers crossed that it's fingering. That is my hope. And so 8 ounces of fingering, that would be a fairly legitimate amount. That would be probably close to 700-800 yards. I think I could make something legitimate out of that. So keep your fingers crossed for me that that's going to work out. Now, why was I at Paradise Fibers, guys? Does anybody know? I took a spinning class. I know. So as you may remember, I am a self-taught spinner. And so I thought it'd be a good idea to actually take a class and see how I could improve, because I know I can improve. But I thought for sure there's things that I, missed or didn't know. There's always something you learn, right? And so I had taught myself on an e-spinner because I was very intimidated by the treadling. Because that's just, to me, that's just too much. Like, it's like doing this, right? Rubbing your belly, patting your head at the same time. That's really hard to do. That's what treadling seemed like to me. So I learned on an e-spinner. I got the drafting down, right? So I took my Daedalus Dove with me to the spinning class. And the gal next to me, she had her treadling spinner and said, hey, like we were almost done with class. She's like, do you want to try it? I'm like, I don't want to mess up your spinning. She goes, you won't. You'll do fine. And so I started treadling on it. And you guys, it was so much fun. I had so much fun. Afterwards, I talked to the owner. I'm like, Travis, you got to hook me up. So he took me and we tried out a bunch of different spinners. And I brought myself home a new toy. Ah, do you see her? It is the Sidekick by Schact. And what I love about her is everything on this folds up. And then there's a little strap that you hook on back here to right here. Let's see, where is it? Right here, and then down here, and then there's a strap. And you just put it over your shoulder, and off you go. But how cool is that? Guys, and what I will say is since I've been treadling, it's made my spinning even more consistent. Because I'm able to speed up and slow down kind of as things are happening, I feel like I'm able to fix mistakes in the moment, and it's made all my spinning better. So I am so excited. I'm still using my e-spinners a lot, but I'm working on this every day. And look how beautiful that spin is. I don't know if you can see it. It's hard to show when it's sitting on a spinner, but yeah, this is definitely a nice thin spin. So I am so excited. Do you love her? Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you, Travis, for your patience with me. He was so great. He spent a long time with me checking out different spinners, but ultimately I love my Schact from Paradise Fibers, guys. Highly recommend. And if you go there, tell Travis hi for me. You'll love him. If you go there on Saturday, he'll have a treat for you. He makes sourdough stuff. We had sourdough scones. I think they were raspberry filled. Oh God, they were good. Sometimes it's sourdough bread, but he's always baking and bringing us treats on Saturdays. So check out Paradise Fibers. They also have a huge online presence. So if you have anything that you need fiber-wise, yarn-wise, check them out. They're really great people. I love to see them do well. Y'all may remember the 12 days of Knitmas where I cast on all those sweaters, and I've not finished them all. And I even had a holdover from fall that I'm still working on. So what I'm doing now is I'm starting to work them back into the queue as we go. So the first thing I want to work on again is the Gray Gingham Raglan by Jessie Maed Designs. So I'm knitting this up in a size 2, which corresponds to 40 inches, which is going to give me roughly 4 inches of positive ease. She recommends anywhere from 3.5 to 8 inches of positive ease. So I think that's going to be perfect for me. This pattern includes instructions for both short sleeve and long sleeve. She gives you guidance for how long to do the torso, and there's a lot of modifications that she includes in the pattern. I've been enjoying the pattern immensely so far. So what I'm knitting her up in is exactly what Jessie used. So I'm using the Ritual Dyes Sprite, which is their sport weight in the colorway Jewel Weed, held with the Verba Volant by Spin Cycle. And what I've done so far is a lot, actually. We've actually got a lot of progress on this. So I have sleeve A, I have sleeve B, and they don't exactly match, but they look like, at least like cousins. So there's my sleeves. And they are knit, obviously, cuff up. So you start with a cuff, you do a twisted rib cuff, and then you're doing color work. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's been a while, but you cast on the cuff, you do a rapid row of increases right here, and then it's just straight knitting all the way to the armhole. We're already to the armhole. And then you go ahead and do the same on the second. Now what I've done is I've cast on the body, and we're working through that. A couple inches of twisted rib after the cast on, and then some color work, and then we're going to work that up. And then when we get to the underarms, you just put the sleeves back, because right now they're on hold on try it on tubing. You slip them back on the needles and start knitting. I've never done it this way, but then you start doing Raglan decreases, and that's how you do the shaping of the upper body. And then you cast on the collar, and voila, sweater. So I'm not very far into the body, but I think that's the next thing that we're going to get going on, because if I'm being honest, that I love doing this Stromboli, but I'm only able to do so much in a day, and my mind gets kind of fried. So this will be a nice little break from that. And I haven't done a lot of color work recently, and I love color work, so back to the color work. So yeah, I'm excited to get back to work on my great Gingham Raglan by Jessie Maed Designs. Who's been working on their summer solstice cowl? All you need to do, guys, is knit a spring or summer sweater, tee, vest, accessory, anything goes. Post it in the Discord group under finished objects for the cowl, and then you have a chance to win a $50 gift card to River Rat Yarn. I would love it if you would tag me on Instagram under Spring Solstice Cowl 2026, and that's it. Easy peasy. Now, Discord is a little bit persnickety, so it's a little bit of a pain in the butt getting on, but once you're on, it's easy to use. I'm going to put a link down below for the Discord group. Now, if you have any trouble getting in, message me. I will get you a new link, because the links break really easy. Once we get to 1,000 members in the Discord group, you'll be able to search it. But right now, they have this rule that you need 1,000 members to make it searchable, and we're just not there. We have about 150. We're getting there. One by one. So get yourself in there. Get yourself entered for the Spring Solstice Cowl. I just can't wait to see what you guys make. We already have some finished objects, people working on second finished objects. It's been so much fun. I'm also posting things in there like knitting tips, any helpful videos that I'm finding on YouTube with some tips and tricks, things like that. I'm posting in there. We're talking about colors, yarn choices, places to shop. It's been fun. We have a reading room. We have book suggestions. We have movie suggestions. We have all sorts of things. It's been fun. So get yourself in there. Don't miss out. Let's keep the conversation going. But guys, I think that's all I have for you today. I've enjoyed so much hanging out with you. It's always a pleasure to share what I'm doing with you guys. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Follow me on Instagram and Ravelry at @ANaughtyKnitter2. And until next time, happy knitting! Sit, Frankie, sit. Hey, Frankie. Good boy. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Yeah. Hey, buddy.